Hello everyone, Thorto back on the Raiders video. In this video, I'll be giving a game recap of the Raiders Hall of Fame game against the Jaguars on last Thursday. So let's get into it. First things first, at QB, Stidham played a lot more than Nick Mullins. I know a lot of people are already jumping the gun saying Stidham is the quarterback too, but I don't really believe in it. I mean, he literally got more playing time. Besides only a couple throws, he was really throwing checkdowns like the whole game to the running back. That's about it. Nick Mullins played a lot less, but was not bad. He had a fumble snap on the first play. Doesn't mean he's automatically fighting to keep his spot. I think he's still better than Stidham, and we'll see what happens with 3 more preseason games left. And Chase Garbers, we know, did some things also at the very end of the game. And then at running back, Jacobs did play a little bit, which was interesting to see. The running backs, Jacobs played, Brandon Bolden didn't play, Kenyon Drake barely played. He did not play well. He got hurt. Luckily, he's okay. Jacobs really did do well, by the way. He had a good screen pass also, with 5 yards of carry on 6 rushes for 30 yards. Zamir White had a really good game, probably the best Raiders player on offense in this game. Good rushing, some good receiving. You can tell they're trying to, figure out if he's a good receiver or not, because at Georgia, he wasn't really productive in the receiving game. But they had James Cook at Georgia; he was the receiving back, so they're kind of trying to find out if he's a good receiving back. He had 3 catches, 23 yards. He had a really good screen pass, but then he had one that was, lit up for a loss of like 4 yards. And then Austin Walter came in very late in the game and looked very electric. Something I want to mention just for fun, the Amir Abdullah. Oh yeah, Amir Abdullah also played. He didn't get much action. He got a touchdown. Brown did not play at all, by the way. Jacob Johnson played at fullback. But speaking about the Abdullah touchdown, it was a 1st and goal from the 8, a sweep to the right. So when the Raiders were on the Jaguars 8 on 1st and goal, I was like, how funny would it be if they just got a rushing touchdown again on 1st and goal from the 8, and they literally ran the same play, sweep to the right, touchdown Austin Walter. I was like, I called it, but he looked good. He looked electric out there. He looked fast right off the snap, right off the line of scrimmage. The rest of the offense, not Nick Mullins. Tyron Johnson did play. I was really excited to see him in this game. He had 5 targets, I believe, 2 catches, 39 yards. He dropped maybe touchdown. Definitely a big gain that he ended up dropping. He dropped another sliding catch, but he had a big 3rd down conversion on 3rd and 10. And one more nice catch up the seam in the red zone, which is good to see. Red zone offense, we love to see that. Matt Collins barely in there. He had an illegal formation. He had 1 catch for -1 yards. Keelan Cole got hurt. Luckily, he's okay. Big 31-yard catch to start the game. Then a nice end around for like over 10 yards. Good gain also. DeMarcus Robinson, 2 catches, 17 yards. Jordan Vesey, 2 catches, 16 yards. They ended up cutting him today as I'm recording this. Foster Moreau, 1 catch for 10 yards. Jacob Polisher got his 7-yard catch. DJ Turner got his 5-yard catch. Yeah, there's not much to go off of. Just Horsett also got a 16-yard catch late in the game from Garbers. There's not really much to go off in the receiving game, I would feel. Still, the battles are to be decided between Tyron Johnson, Keelan Cole, and DeMarcus Robinson and Matt Collins. No one really had an amazing game, you can say. Some of them had their good moments, some of them had their bad moments. Like Tyron Johnson led the team in receiving yards, but also had 2 drops. Matt Collins had, was probably higher up on the depth chart than DeMarcus Robinson entering this game, but he didn't really do anything. But the stuff still yet to be decided. So the offense, I think, looked good. I think that they were able to run the ball kind of effectively. Pass protection was terrible. Brandon Parker on the left side of the O-line. Sure, you can say, well, he was playing right tackle last year in training camp as a right tackle, but he's a swing tackle, and some even believe he's a better left tackle than right tackle. So there's no excuse as to why he was that bad. He's now out for the year anyway. Sure, I don't want him starting, but having an injury and season-ending injury to at worst the depth piece is definitely not what you want to see. At worst, he would have been a depth piece, swing tackle. Now you can't offer any of that since he's on IR. But the pass protection looked terrible. However, Lester Cotton looked good. I've heard so many up and down things on Leatherwood this past week. I don't know if he played good or not. From what I saw at watching the game, he was pretty good in run blocking at least. But Dylan Parham played center, but I mean he's not going to start at center. Andre James will start at center. He was pretty good. He was pretty good in this game. Simpson, I didn't really hear much about. So good signs that that right side of the O-line was looking pretty good. Andre James looking good. Colin was looking Lester Collins probably the best O-lineman in the game for the Raiders, and then in this game for the Raiders, and Leatherwood at right tackle. But as I mentioned, pass protection was a problem. The running game was all right. Some running backs had good games, some of them didn't really do anything. Passing the ball, as I mentioned, there was a lot of checkdowns in this game to running backs, a lot of screen passes. I think there were 7. I'm not sure if that's the exact number, but a lot of them, over 5. The red zone offense did stall out a couple times. Arden Key got, oh my god. Okay, that's a different topic. Well, actually, no, we're going to talk about it right now, actually, because we're talking about the O-line. They allowed 2 sacks to Arden Key. I was not happy. But at least we won. I didn't check his Instagram. Maybe he was trash talking, but we'll still lock him down week 9. On defense, I love first of all, I want to mention Darian Butler right now because I have the box score right in front of me. I know he led the team in tackles. I know he did, but even watching the game, even before I saw the advanced stats, Darian Butler did not look that impressive. He didn't play till the second half, sure, but he was kind of like Tyre Whitehead, Denzel Perryman stuff. He's not like Denzel Perryman's way better than Tyre Whitehead, but how both of those guys, they're in coverage, someone catches the ball, they go and tackle them. It counts as a tackle, but it was really a bad play. They just gave up yardage. It's kind of what Darian Butler did. I feel like I was disappointed in what I saw from him. Luke Matterson played a lot. Darius Phillips looked really good. Almost had 2 forced fumbles. The Tyree Gillespie forced fumble, he got it hit in there also, but the credit went to Gillespie, and then he almost forced a fumble. I think on the first drive of the game for Jacksonville, which Brown recovered, but the receiver was down anyway. Bryce Cosby, I think, was the best player, honestly, the Raiders had in this game, or that played the best performance by a Raiders player in this game. He looked good, got hurt, came back, had a pass breakup, had some good tackles, had at least one really good run defense play, blitzing from the slot, which is interesting to see from Patrick Graham. He ran 3-man, 4-man, 5-man fronts, blitz coming from everywhere. Nate Hobbs was on the outside. Oh, I was really not happy to see that, but the Raiders also didn't have Mullen, Everett, or Rocky Yassin playing in the game, so maybe they just throw a Hobbs out there just for this game. He's still a lockdown slot corner. I've mentioned this on this channel before. If he moves from slot corner, if they move him from slot corner to the outside, I'll be very unhappy. But Bryce Cosby did look good. Divine Diablo he made some he didn't play much, but he made some amazing plays in run defense. You love to see those things. Sam Webb, I think, looked whatever. Ike Brown looked like, whatever. Some Cravon LeBlanc and Amik Robertson did not play. Also, interesting thing to say. Quintero Cole, Isaiah Palomau, some Mateus Farley, some of those other safety guys. I don't have much to say. Deron Harmon recovered a fumble. There were some plays where he was coming up to the line of scrimmage. Some of the plays where he was dropping back. I think that he's going to be like the safety 3, but like a hybrid safety 3. I think he can play some strong safety roles, some free safety roles. I think it'll be interesting to see. Gillespie forced fumble, as I mentioned. Trayvon Merrick did start. Abram did start. They didn't really play long or much or have much of an impact, but they were out there getting their reps. Neil Farrell Jr., I've heard some good I've heard like up and down things. I heard he had 3 pressures on the game, but when I was watching his stuff, he didn't really do much. But he's not really much of a pass rusher. He's more of a run stopper. He's a nose tackle. I don't really know how he did. I don't have all 22 film. And I'm not going to go off the tackles alone because, if the tackles, say Darian Butler led the team in tackles, but, was one of the worst defensive players in the Raiders on the Raiders defense this game. Malcolm Kuntz got a lot of pressure. Vernon Butler, he didn't really do much. I think Vernon Butler will get cut, to be honest. Chris Jones, I saw the coverage stats. He played an amazing game. He dropped the pick. So did Ike Brown. So it looks like 2021 Raiders are back already dropping interceptions that they should catch. Besides that, a lot of other guys down here, Curtis Bolton gave up a touchdown in coverage. He's a linebacker that they signed to replace Micah Kaiser. Kenny Young also as a depth piece. Didn't really play much. Besides the top 3 Raiders inside linebackers, there isn't much else good to go off of. Kenny Young is like the guy I looked at as linebacker 4. Maybe Darian Butler, but he didn't look that good in this game. Luke Matterson, I think, is practice squad at best. If he even makes it, he's not that good in coverage. On defense, they pitched the shit out in the first half. Their run defense was good, pretty good. I think it got worse in the second half, but it was still good. Pass defense, they ran a lot of different things. They gave up some rare, like 20 to 15 yard gains. Kept the checkdowns to, it's kind of hard to stop them from checking down. They check down, but the defense looked good. I want to see more pass rush though. You know, they got some pressures. A lot of times they were really close to sacking the quarterback, but they didn't. But at least pressure is what we like to see, especially from guys like Malcolm Koonce. You know, if Malcolm Koonce got like a sack, I'd have been like whatever. But if he had a really like good, not a really good game, but like a solid game, getting pressure out of the QB, that's what I want to see. That's what I would want to see, and that's what we saw. So that's a good sign. As you know, I saw a clip of him absolutely destroying a line. He was like, and he got right past him. So I mean I love Malcolm Koonce's pass rush moves. It's gonna be very interesting to watch if he does get a pretty consistent, at least defensive end 3 or defensive end 4 playing time the rest of the year. Clelin Ferrell didn't play because of his injury. Things are not looking really that good for him. I know there's like a lot of dead cap. If they cut him, he's just falling down the depth chart. Sean Bauer had an okay game. Clelin Ferrell hasn't done anything yet. We'll see if he's back healthy. Dylan Stoner also on the PUP list. You know, that's not good for him. You know, he needs all these preseason games to make the roster. You know, last year we barely made the practice squad with 3 preseason games. So hopefully he can come back Sunday against the Vikings. I'm recording this on Thursday, 4 days before. Wednesday actually, before the Vikings game. So yeah, that was my kind of game recap. So yeah, the Raiders played a clean enough game. You know, there was only I think 1 penalty in the first half, which was that Matt Collins illegal formation. The second half, the penalties picked up. Pass protection still has to be improved. I think the receivers, I think everything will be fine there. Running back, I think everything will be fine there. I think offense really, tight end 3, they have to just decide, you know, who that's going to be. I think it's between Hollister or Bowers. I would rather have Hollister. I think he's better at blocking and receiving. Although Bowers is a good blocking tight end also. On defense, I still think that maybe another linebacker and through free agency would be a good move. I think the corner depth looked amazing this game. Like through the whole game, the corners showed out. And I can say the same thing about the safeties too. And the D-line, you know, it's whatever. They did their thing of stopping the run. As I mentioned, I love to see more pressure. Actually bringing the QB down. They had 1 sack, which is Kendall Vickers. But yeah, the Raiders played a good game. You know, it was 20-0 at halftime. You know, they only scored 7 points the rest of the game. They were outscored in the second half, but you know, whatever. They took their foot off the gas pedal. Carlson hit a 55-yarder. You love to see those things. We allowed a punt return touchdown, but there was a flag, so we got lucky. You know, we won this game. I mentioned in my game preview, I wouldn't really care if we won this game, but it would, you know, feel a lot better for the fans watching and maybe momentum for the team. So we did win. That's good to see. We're not 1-0 in the preseason. We're still technically 0-0 because it's not a preseason game technically. But yeah, we saw some good things. Got some injuries. We got 5 injuries. Luckily, but besides 5 in-game injuries, luckily none of those were severe. But you know, Brent Parker's injury was, you know, after the game. Unfortunately, he's out for the year. But you know, that was my game recap of the Raiders Hall of Fame game against the Jaguars. I'm Marto, and thank you for watching.